You drop a marble into a running blender and something unexpected happens immediately. The blade hits it, and instead of crushing it, the marble bounces. It ricochets off the interior walls at high speed, and for a brief moment, nothing seems to be happening at all. But that's just the beginning. A standard glass marble is made from soda-lime glass, the same basic material used in windows and bottles. It's hard, smooth, and surprisingly resistant to impact. A blender blade spinning at 20,000 RPM generates enormous force, but on the first strike, the blade doesn't win. The marble is round, and that shape distributes the impact evenly across its surface, deflecting the blow rather than absorbing it. So it bounces, over and over, faster and faster. But here's where it gets interesting. Every time the marble bounces off the blade, it creates a tiny stress fracture inside the glass. You can't see these fractures yet, they're microscopic. But they're accumulating with every single impact, and the marble is weakening from the inside out. The outside still looks perfectly smooth. The inside is quietly falling apart. After about 10 to 15 seconds, the fractures reach a tipping point. The structural integrity of the marble collapses all at once, and it doesn't slowly crumble, it explodes. Not dramatically like a grenade, but suddenly and completely. The marble shatters into hundreds of tiny glass fragments, some as fine as powder, others sharp and jagged like broken bottle glass. Now the blender is full of glass. And this is where things get dangerous. Those glass fragments are now being thrown around inside the blender at the same speed the blade is spinning. Nearly 200 miles per hour at the tip. The fine glass powder coats the inside of the blender jar. The larger shards are hitting the blade repeatedly, and with each impact they're getting smaller and sharper. The blade itself is taking damage too. Glass is abrasive. It's actually used in sandpaper, and at this speed it's grinding microscopic grooves into the metal edge of the blade. The sound changes completely at this point. The initial clatter of marble against blade becomes a high-pitched grinding shriek. If you were standing next to the blender, you'd feel the vibration through the counter. The motor is working harder than it was designed to, because the resistance of the glass fragments is uneven and unpredictable. After about 30 seconds, the larger glass chunks have been reduced to a fine glittering powder. The blender jar, if it's glass, now has hairline scratches across the entire interior. If it's plastic, those scratches are even deeper. The blade has micro damage along its cutting edge that you wouldn't notice with the naked eye, but that would dull it significantly over time. If you stopped the blender right now and looked inside, you'd see what appears to be a fine white or gray powder with a faint shimmer. That's your marble, completely destroyed, reduced from a solid glass sphere to something that looks almost like coarse salt. Except that every single particle is razor sharp. Now here's the part most people don't think about. Glass powder is one of the most dangerous materials you can inhale. The particles are small enough to get deep into your lungs, and because they're glass, your body cannot break them down. They sit there permanently, causing irritation and scarring over time. This is the same reason why fiberglass insulation requires protective equipment to handle. So what actually happens if you put a marble in a blender? The marble bounces, weakens, shatters, and grinds itself into a powder so fine it's invisible to the naked eye. The blender survives, barely, but it's damaged. And what's left inside is not dust. It's hundreds of thousands of microscopic glass shards that would be nearly impossible to fully clean out. The marble doesn't lose to the blender because the blender is stronger. It loses because the blender is relentless. One hit wouldn't break it. 10,000 hits in 15 seconds? Nothing survives that.